You can do whatever you want. Oh, okay, cool. Let's start in a child's pose position. So bring your big toes together, open your knees, bring your forehead down to the ground, bring your hips down to your heels, and just start to find some breath in this position. Maybe you crawl your fingertips a little further out in front of you and breathe into the space between your shoulder blades. Take a nice big breath in and a full big breath out. And find that again, a nice big breath in and a full big breath out. Last time, a nice big breath in, full big breath out. And now walk your fingers over to the right and pull your hips over to the left. So we're feeling even more of a stretch all along the left side body. Breathe into that space, nice big breath in. Full big breath out. And then walk your fingers back to center and walk your fingers over to the left and pull your hips over to the right. Again, just take a moment here, nice open all along the right side. Take a nice big breath in. And then a full big breath out. And bring your hands back to center and push yourself up to a tabletop position with your shoulders over the wrists, hips over the knees. Actually, we're going to take this a little bit longer. So bring your hands just slightly in front of you, just slightly. You can flip your toes under. That might make this a little more stable. On your inhale, bring your hips down. Think of arching through your spine, lifting your chin up. And then on your exhale, this is going to be a cat spine. So you're going to contract, but I also want you to contract so much that you bring your hips towards your heels. So you're really, really rounding. And let's take that again. Inhale, bring your gaze forward, bring your chin, your chest forward. And then exhale, really, really contract, pull your hips back to your heels, bring your head between your hands. Let's do that 2 more times with breath. Inhale, bring your heart forward, find a little arch through your spine. And then exhale, nice deep contraction, hips to heels, almost like a little child's pose. And 1 more time. Inhale, kind of an exaggerated arch position here. And then exhale, push your hips back into your tabletop, or back into your little child's pose. And then bring yourself back up to tabletop. Now we can kind of shorten the position so your wrists are right under your shoulders. Lift your right leg back behind you. So you're flexing through your right foot. And then just start to find flexion and an extension. So you're just moving the leg. And obviously you said that you're a little bit stiff. You did a big leg workout. So we're going to just kind of be doing some easy movements in the legs, particularly the hips, the big muscle groups that you may have hit yesterday. From here, start to draw some circles with your right knee. Yeah, so we're really just mobilizing, and you may be noticing some things in your legs, some sore tightness. Take these circles in the other direction. And then extend your right leg back long behind you. Bring your right toes down, swivel your left ankle, come into a modified side plank. So the left arm is down, the right arm will be up and over. This is, yeah, really nice. This is more of a side body opener, but it's good for the side of your hip as well. Think of pushing your right rib cage up to the ceiling. Really open back, like your right thumb could come back behind you. Take 1 more breath. And then bring yourself back to tabletop, all the way back to tabletop. We're going to take all of that on the second side. So lift your left knee to start. Your foot is flexed up towards the ceiling. And then just start to find flexion and extension into the left hip. So this doesn't have to be anything too fancy, just kind of mobilizing into that joint. Probably noticing, I'm definitely noticing some extra soreness in my glutes and my hamstrings. It's not weight bearing, so we're really just kind of finding some lubrication, and then start to circle this up. So the left knee can go out to the side and stay stationary as you can to your hands and your palms. Take like 2 more circles in this direction, and then let's go ahead and move the other way. Yes. Good. Let's take like 2 or 3 more circles here. And then re-extend your left leg. Place your left toes down, swivel your right ankle, and reach your left arm up and over. So you're coming into this big modified side plank. Pull your left thumb behind your ear. Really push into your bottom right hand. Think of spinning the heart up and open to the ceiling. Take 1 more big breath. And on your exhale, bring yourself back to your tabletop position. Step your legs back. So you're coming into a high plank. Let's just take 3 big breaths in a high plank. We'll build a little bit of heat in the core, lengthen through the back of your neck, energize through your heels. Take 1 more big breath, and then lower all the way down to your belly. You can use your knees, or you can just come all the way down. Bring your hands so they come a little bit wider than your mat. You can ten up onto your fingertips, push into the pads of your fingers. Bring yourself up into a cobra position. So you're lifted through the chest and the heart. Yeah. And then bring yourself down. So think of like a wave-like movement, pushing into the pads of your fingers and just finding this motion. Undulate through your spine. Let your head and your neck be a part of it as well. And maybe even find just a little bit of a wiggle through your jaw. If you're trying to find release in those areas, let's just take like 2 more of these, just these kind of undulating cobra poses. And 1 more time, push up. And then release yourself down. Bring your hands underneath your shoulders, push yourself back to tabletop, and then flip the toes, find downward facing dog. In this first downward facing dog, just take some easy pedals through the feet, through the legs, maybe an easy movement through your head and your neck, or again through the jaw. I do a lot of focus on the jaw. And then bring yourself back to neutral downward facing dog. So think of finding that length through the backs of your legs. Spread your fingers wide. Now lift your right leg up. And you don't have to lift it super high. Think of lifting it about hip height, and then bend your right heel to your glute and start to take those same knee circles that we took in the all fours position. So again, just finding a little bit of lubrication into your hip joint. We'll take about 3 circles in one direction and then go ahead and move this the other direction. And I'm finding some snap, crackle, pops in my hips. Maybe you're feeling the same. Next inhale, extend the right leg. And now step your right foot. It comes outside of your right hand. So you're in this kind of wider lunge position. We're just going to hang out here for a second. Wider lunge position. Think of your hips dropping down while your chest lengthens forwards. Keep your left hand down to the mat and stretch your right arm up. Yes, nice big open twist. Good. Yes, beautiful. Think of the heart going back towards your left. Now bring your right hand behind your head. Really open your right elbow up to the ceiling. Lean back, yes. And now bring your right elbow down to your left wrist. And if it doesn't make it all the way, that's all right, but you want to think of that rotation through the torso. Let's take that 2 more times. Inhale to pull the right elbow up, lean your body back. Exhale to bring the right elbow to the left wrist. And we do that 1 more time. Inhale, lift the right elbow up, lean the body back. And then exhale, bring the right elbow down to the left wrist. Re-extend your right arm up into the air. Bring your right hand down, lower your left knee, and then extend your right leg back behind you. We're coming back into a modified side plank, a variation of it. So your right leg is floating. Rotate, spin your left ankle. Keep your right leg so it's floating. I'm just going to scooch myself forward here. So the right leg is floating. It takes a little more activation. Bend your right knee back behind you. Place your right toes on the ground so they're kind of kickstanding behind you, and you can open up through the front of your hip space. Yeah, it's just like a little supported flip dog. Yes, good. And now lift your right foot back up off the ground and extend straight from your hip. From here, use your core, pull your right knee to your chest, and step your right foot back forward into a low lunge. Heel toe your right foot more to the center of your chest. You can kind of scooch your left knee back behind you and lift your arms up. Low lunge position. Yeah, pause and breathe here. Plug your shoulders on your back. Push your hips forward, lift through your heart, lift through your chest. Take 1 more big breath. Bring your hands down, flip your back toes, step your left foot forward into a ragdoll forward fold. And just hang out here. You can take an easy shift and sway of your body. You can take an easy shake or nod of your head, yes and no. Wiggle through the jaw, maybe buzz through your lips. Breathe in. Exhale. Bend your knees a lot. Slowly roll yourself up to stand. You can kind of shimmy out through your upper torso, your shoulders as you come up to stand. Head is last. Open your arms wide to the side. Big breath, inhale. And then exhale, open the arms and fold right back down, forward fold. Soften through your knees. Inhale, halfway lift. And then step your left foot so it comes far back behind you. You're back in a lunge just for a moment. And then three-legged dog. Send your right leg up into the air. Bend your right knee, open your hip. Yeah, just find that moment there. You can find any sort of movement that might feel good. You're just opening into your hip. And then replace your right foot down to the mat. We're going to take all of that on the second side. So lift your left leg. Doesn't have to be super high. Bend your left knee so your heel comes towards your glute, and then start to circle through your left knee in your downward facing dog. So you may feel like you have a little more freedom in this downward facing dog with the mobility in the hip versus in your tabletop position. Start to take these circles the opposite direction. Take like 3 or 4 in each direction. And then re-extend your left leg, and then step your left foot so it comes outside of your left hand. And then just hold and pause in this position. So your palms are flat to the ground. Think of your chest sliding forward. Think of your hips getting heavier. And keep your right hand planted. Reach your left arm up. Find this open twist and just stay here for a few breaths. Really think of pushing the hips over towards the left side of your mat. You may find a little bit of something happening into your left IT band. Breathe, inhale. Exhale. Bend your left elbow, bring your hand behind your head, point your left elbow up towards the ceiling, really spin your chest, and then exhale, bring your left elbow to your right wrist. And again, if it doesn't quite make it there, that's okay, but just find some rotation. 2 more times like that. Inhale, lift the elbow up towards the ceiling, and then exhale, pull the elbow to your wrist. And last one, lift your elbow up to the ceiling, and then pull your elbow to your wrist. Now lift your elbow up to the ceiling, re-extend your left arm, and bring your left hand back down to the mat. Lower your back right knee. So your right knee is on the ground, and then slide your left foot so it comes back behind you. We're moving into our modified side plank. So you can swivel your right ankle, right hand is down, left arm is up, left leg is up. Now bend your left knee so the foot comes behind you just barely. Bring your left toes down. It's a little kickstand. Keep pushing into the left toes as you rotate your heart space open towards the ceiling. Take a big breath in and a full breath out. Bring yourself back. Lift your left leg up off the ground. Pull your left knee to your chest. Step your left foot back forward so you're in a low lunge. You can kind of scoot your right knee further back behind you and reach your arms up into this low lunge position. Plug your shoulders on your back. Maybe take a little easy kind of figure 8 through the head, the jaw. Breathe in and exhale. And now bring your hands down to frame your foot. Flip your back toes, lift your back knee, step your right foot forward. We're back in a ragdoll forward fold, and just stay and pause here for a moment. This could be an easy kind of shake through the head. Take a breath in and a breath out. Bend your knees, roll yourself up to stand. Maybe find the kind of gentle, easy shimmy shake on your way up. Open your arms out to the side, lift your arms up, and then exhale, open your arms, come back into a forward fold. Inhale for halfway lift, lengthen through the spine. Exhale, bring your hands down, step your right foot. It comes back behind you into a lunge. Keep your hands on the ground, three-legged dog. Send your left leg up into the air. Bend your left knee, open your hip. Feel free to take any movement that might feel good into the hip or the quad or the psoas. Nice big breath in. And then back to downward facing dog. Take one big breath here. Breathe in. And exhale. Inhale, reach your right leg high. Once again, step your right foot so it comes outside of your right hand, but lower your back knee down to the ground. We're going to come into a lizard pose. This targets a little bit more into the hips. You could stay on your palms, or you could bring your forearms down to the ground. I like to have my right toes kind of slightly turned out, but you can find more of a parallel position with your front foot if that feels better. And then you could stay right here, or I'll give the option if you want to go there to bend your left knee and use your right hand to catch your foot for a little extra quad something. And again, that's just an option. Nothing is mandatory ever. Breathe in and exhale. Good. We'll take like 2 more big breaths here. Breathe in and exhale. Last one, big breath in. And on your exhale, release your foot. Bring your hands back underneath your shoulders if they're not already there, and shift your hips back, coming into a little half split runner stretch, hamstring opener, whatever you want to call it. So the right leg is going to be outside of the right hands. And I want you to think of having a little more turnout. It doesn't have to be like extreme Russian ballerina turnout, but just think of like turning your toes out slightly to the side, just a little external rotation into the hip. That's going to target the hamstring a little bit differently. And if you've got a big old bend in that right knee, that's okay. You got to find what works for you. Breathe in and exhale. Now shift yourself back forward. So back into your kind of turned out lunge. Flip your back toes, lift your back knee, step your left foot outside of your left hand. So you're moving into a squat position. This is called a Malasana Squat in yoga. You're going to try to get as low as you can in the hips. And if your hips are not getting super low, that's okay. Lift your hips up a little bit higher and then try to lift your chest up with it. So we're finding some like pinching, I can't think of the proper term right now, in the tops of your thighs, in the creases of your hip flexors. We want to find a little bit of compression. That's the word I'm looking for, compression. Yes, good. Push down into your feet, lift up through your chest, breathe in and exhale. Now bring your right hand down and reach your left arm up. And try to keep your knee, especially your left knee, tracking right over your left toe. So your left knee is going to want to kind of fall in. Try to keep that engagement, a little external rotation. And then switch so the left hand comes down and the right arm comes up. And then notice what the right knee is tempted to do and try to keep the right knee tracking right over the toes. Good. I know that one's not easy. Bring yourself back to center. Place your hands down and straighten through your legs to come into a wide-legged forward fold. So you can kind of heel toe your feet away from each other. Wide-legged forward fold. And just a little bit of free time here. So allow yourself to kind of shift from side to side if that feels good through the hips. Shake through your head. Wiggle through your jaw. We're going to take an easy side to side lunge just to get into our inner thighs. Bend into your right knee. And then walk your hands out in front of you. So you're finding a longer spine. Yeah, and then maybe even finding a little bit of a target into the left, or sorry, the right IT band, the right outer thigh. And then switch, bend into your left knee. Keep your fingertips, your arms extended. Think of pulling your hips away from your fingers. Breathe in. Exhale. One more time, big breath in. And exhale. And then bring yourself back to center, rocking this wide-legged forward fold. Let's bring the feet in just a little bit here. We'll bring the feet actually all the way into like the ragdoll position. Bend your knees once again. Just find your ragdoll forward fold. Let yourself hang over, nice and heavy through the torso. Shake through the head, shake through the neck. Bend your knees slowly, roll yourself up to stand. We're just revisiting this again so we can have a few moments on the feet. Reach your arms up overhead. Nice big breath, inhale. Exhale, open the arms, forward fold, come all the way back down. Inhale, find halfway lift. Exhale, step your left foot back. So you're at a low lunge with your right foot in front. Three-legged dog. Send your right leg up into the air, bend your right knee, open your hip, and just take a moment here, maybe finding some movement into the right ankle, the right knee, the right hip. And then replace your right foot back down. We're gonna do all of that on the second side. Lift your left leg. Step your left foot so it comes outside of your left hand, and then lower your right knee down to the mat, and then just pause right here. You could stay on your palms, or if it's available, you could come down to your forearms. Yeah, and this is our lizard lunge. We're going to be here for probably like 10-ish breaths. And if you would like the option, you could bend your right knee and catch your right foot with your left hand. It's just a variation and option. Allow the hips to be heavy. Notice where you may be kind of gripping on to tension, like in the shoulders or the neck, especially in this posture. And we'll take about 5 more big breaths here, wherever you are. And then slowly transition. So if your forearms are down, bring your palms so they're back down on the mat, and then start to shift your hips back. So you're moving into this half split position where your left foot is outside of your hands. So it's going to feel a little different, and it may feel like it's targeting a little different area of your hamstring or maybe even your calf. I'm feeling this a little more in the calf personally. Send your hips away from your fingers. And if you've got a big old bend in that left knee, that's okay. You can take like 5 more big breaths here. And 1 more big breath. And then rebend into your left knee, flip your back toes, and from here, step your right foot forward. We're coming back into our squat position. We're just gonna hold in the squat position for about 5 breaths. Yeah, try to sit up as tall as you can. You can bring your palms together, so you can push your elbows into your legs, or you could open up through your arms and find the pressure there. Just make sure that your knees are tracking right over your ankles, right over your toes. Good. Take just a couple more moments of breath. And we're not going to repeat, we're just going to come right down to the butt. Take 1 more big breath. And then bring your hands down and come all the way down onto your back, however you need to get there. So kind of just find some support for yourself. Yeah, that looked like it worked. Come all the way down onto your back, just so we can target a little bit more into the outer hips. Bend your knees and cross your right ankle over your left knee. And then lift your left foot up off the ground. We're coming into our figure 4. Definitely something I'm feeling today. And you can stay still. I always like to find a little side to side movement. That's going to target into your outer glutes a little deeper. Maybe you roll around through your left ankle. What's going on with your shoulders? A lot of times my shoulders want to like tense up towards the ceiling. Try to bring your shoulders. They are a little bit active in the arms, but do try to bring your shoulders as much down to the mat as you can. Okay, we're going to stay in kind of a cross-legged position, but we're going to change this. So I want the right knee to stack right on top of the left knee. So it's like you're cross-legged in a chair, but then try to grab onto either your shins or your ankles, and you're pulling your 2 cross legs into your body. And this is still going to target into the outer glutes. And again, you can take some easy movement here if that feels good. Maybe a wiggle in the jaw. And now keep the cross of your legs, shift your hips slightly over to the right, and then bring your cross legs so they fall over to the left, coming into a twist. And if the crossing of the legs is a little too intense for your twist, then just uncross the legs and twist them over to the left. Take about 3 more big breaths here. And then slowly bring yourself back to center. Uncross your legs. And we'll switch this to the other side. Cross your left ankle over your right knee. You could stay with your right foot down, or if it feels accessible, you can lift your right foot up off the mat or the ground. I kind of like to grab hold of my left shin. You, of course, can thread underneath your right thigh. You could stay still. You could find some easy side to side movement. All right, now let's change this up. So your left knee is going to stack on top of your right knee, like you're cross-legged in a chair. And then you're trying to pull your shins away from each other. So you could grab hold of the ankles or the knees or the shins, whatever you're able to grab hold of. And as you're coming into this, the butt bones, the hips are going to want to lift up off the ground. And that's just kind of natural. But do try to attach your butt bones to the mat as much as you can. Take one more big cleansing breath here. Breathe in and exhale. And now shift your hips so your butt bones kind of come over to the left, and then bring your knees so they come over to the right. And then open through the arms. You could tee or cactus out through the arms and bring your gaze over to the left. Let's find nice, big, long breaths here. And then slowly pull your knees back to center. Unravel your knees. It's like a happy baby. Catch the inside or the outside of your feet. Pull your knees towards your armpits. You could stay here. You could extend one leg or the other. Find some movement in the jaw, maybe a buzz through your lips. Whatever feels good. Exhale your breath out. Take a big breath in. And exhale. Final meditation, final Shavasana. Extend your legs so they come long and heavy in front of you. You could bring your hands to your side. You could bring one hand to the belly, one hand to the heart. This little moment of quiet and breath and reflection is a really wonderful opportunity for you to take in everything you just did for the last 30 minutes. I know yoga or this kind of mobility work moves a little bit slower, but there's so much good that is happening in all of this. And taking this time of reflection at the end is a really good way to just kind of absorb that, physically absorb it, mentally absorb it. I'm going to give you 1 minute, 60 seconds of silence here, just to be with your breath, be with your body. And start to exhale your breath, your air out. Take a big breath in through your nose. Let it start from the tips of the toes, travel all the way up to the crown of your head, a full body breath in. And at the top, open your mouth, let something go. Start to find some easy movement. That could be through the fingers and the toes. It can move up to the wrists, the ankles, maybe some easy movement of your head from side to side. And when you're ready, stretch your arms up overhead, a big good morning stretch. Pull your fingertips away from your toes, get really long in both directions. And now pull your knees into your chest. You can bring your hands behind your thighs, rock and roll yourself up to a sitting position, cross-legged sitting position. Bring your hands to rest on your knees or your thighs, let your eyes close. And just take one final moment in this upright position, allow your eyes to close. Bring your hands to heart center. Exhale your breath out. Take a nice big breath in. And exhale. Thank you so much for joining me today. Thank you for carving out this time for yourself. Namaste. All right, Nathan. Oh.